Shove it, man!
Alright, it's the Hawk with an episode of Ring of the Hawk. If you're new here, it's the show where we watch back an entire run and then we grade the wrestler at the end to see if they can do the JOB. Only 30 or less matches count and only main shows too. I want to make it clear that I'm aware of the segments in between the matches, but we're only watching the actual matches. Today's guy is potentially coming back to the WWE soon, so it only makes sense to make this video now. I'm also being forced to make it because it was a Patreon request by Grizz Exploder. If you want to make the Hawk talk, sign up today. And of course,
if you know a wrestler who could do the JOB to the HOUSE-CENA any night, any day, shove their name in the comment section, Jack!
Okay, it's Bray Wyatt the Fiend, the greatest episode I've ever screened, or will something intervene? I've made it clear I was not watching WWE around this time, it all seemed so samey and boring, but I still caught clips and the Fiend always stood out to me. He looked like someone to build a company around, he was memorable, he looked like a star, and he had great character work. I'm not too sure on his wrestling ability though, I guess I'll find that out today. His debut is hyped for a while with these weird children's TV show, the House of Fun segments, then he debuts and attacks Finn Balor. Match 1, SummerSlam 2019, Finn Balor vs the Fiend Bray Wyatt. A very long entrance full of atmosphere and lights on people's phones. As soon as it ends, the crowd are going berserk. Balor looks shook. The Fiend starts with an aggressive headbutt. He follows that with another one. Balor tries to increase the pace now, but he gets freaked out when the Fiend bends his head backwards to look at him. The Fiend clubs him down again. He almost twists Balor's head off now as a stunned silence has gone over the crowd. First proper move of this run now from the Fiend, it's a Uranagi. The Fiend seems conflicted on what to do next. I think he's hearing voices in his head. Balor fights off the Sister Abigail and hits a swing blade and a dropkick. The double leg takes the Fiend down and Balor stomps him. Another dropkick from Balor now. Balor wants to go high risk, but he's sort of caught in the mandible claw. Didn't look great, to be honest. And that's the 3. Just a short match to start us off, a high profile squash match. The crowd are shocked and stunned by what they've just seen. He's straight out of a horror film, giving his debut an A. Whilst it wasn't a great technical match, it had so much atmosphere to it. I certainly want to see more after watching this. Talk about leaving a good first impression. Match 2, Hell in a Cell 2019. Not this. There's only 2 matches I've seen before on today's video, and this is one. And it isn't good. It's straight out of WCW 2000. Well, I'm going to watch it again with a focus on what the Fiend actually does here. Universal title, the champion Seth Rollins versus the Fiend Bray Wyatt. The cage is red, the lighting's red. And what's usually the colour of anger? It's red. The Fiend starts out trying to intimidate Seth Rollins. Seth grabs a stick and hits the Fiend in the gut who no-sells it. None of the shots have any effect. Rollins tries a dive instead. That doesn't work either and he's hit with a Uranagi. Out of the ring we go. The Fiend keeps shoving Rollins into the cage. Now he's squashing into him. We change it up now as the Fiend sends him into the steps instead. This seems to wake Seth up, he uses the steps as a weapon. The Fiend is floored for the first time. 2 suicide dives from Rollins now. He tries a third, which is blocked, and the Fiend does a Sister Abigail into the cell. In the ring now, Rollins super kicks the Fiend onto a table. He immediately splashes him through it. Seth with a stomp now, but the Fiend just won't stay down. He wants another one, but it's blocked again, and there's another Sister Abigail. Just a 2 for the Fiend. Rollins almost has his neck snapped now as silence goes over the audience. No pin is made, instead he throws Rollins out the ring. The match turns bad now. Wright brings out a comedy looking mallet, looks so cartoony and wacky. Rollins with 3 super kicks and a stomp on Bray onto the mallet. Camera pretty much misses that. We're back in the ring now, Rollins with a couple of springboard knees. The Fiend won't go down. More super kicks as Bray drops to a knee. Now we get so many stomps as the crowd are loudly booing. They cheer when the Fiend starts getting up from them though. Pedigree from Rollins and another stomp. The Fiend kicks out at 1 and the crowd go nuts. More stomps. Seth looks terrified, he grabs a chair. A smack to the head and again the Fiend kicks out at 1. Okay, so I think he's got superpowers, kind of like The Undertaker. Seth now hits a ladder into a chair on the Fiend's face. This time it's a 2. Seth piles more crap onto Bray's face, and he goes batshit smacking a toolbox into the pile of metal. Seth seems confused about what to do next. He eventually decides to get a sledgehammer. The ref stops him from using it. Seth just does it anyway. The ref rings the bell and that's how this one ends. The crowd chant bullshit, and I agree with them. A simply horrible Hell in a Cell match where Bray did barely anything. He just no-sold a bunch of stuff and that was pretty much it. He does a mandible claw on a Sister Abigail and Rollins after the match and then he teleports away. But nothing saving this one, isn't it? Match 3, Crown Jewel 2019, Falls Count Anywhere match for the Universal title. The champion, Seth Rollins versus The Fiend again. Well, hopefully it's better than the last match, it couldn't really be worse. Oh no, the red light is staying on all match again. The Fiend slowly brawls and knocks his opponent round the ring. Rollins wakes up and hits a swing blade and a blockbuster. Springboard knee now. Bray is barely affected and he crossbodies Rollins down. They fight on a stage for a bit, but nothing happens. It's so dark and distracting. A stomp on the floor on the outside, which the Fiend no-sells. He hits a half Nelson into the ring apron. The Fiend sits around, doing nothing for a while. Something finally happens when the Fiend misses a charge, goes for a barrier. Suicide dives over and over again now from Rollins. This just feels like the exact same match, but outside a cell. Luckily, the Fiend manages a bit more in this match. After beating up Rollins for a while, he gets him set up on the commentary desk, but he takes too long and his back senton misses. Just a 1 count for Rollins. Why is the Fiend always so slow to do anything? It just makes him look a bit dumb. The best moment of the match is the Fiend shoving Rollins off the top and through tables. I'm in shock that something's actually happened. The Fiend just lies there watching though, so he'll probably lose in a minute. Well, literally nothing happens for the next 2 minutes before Bray finally decides to do a Sister Abigail. Rollins fights it off with an enziguri, and now he's using the steps as a weapon again. The stomp on the outside gives Rollins a 2 count. Diving shot from Seth Rollins now. We're back on the stage again. Bray hits the Sister Abigail. He actually makes the cover straight away, but it's just a 2. Now they fight up the ramp. Another 5 minutes pass. Seth stomps him on the ramp. Bray no-sells that. 3 super kicks and 2 stomps from Rollins. Jesus, and another one. I get that Bray no-sells stuff as part of his gimmick, but these stomps look so weak and pointless. Why does he keep doing them if they have no effect? It's still going. Seth eventually kicks him off the stage into some electric boxes. Seth Rollins tries to retrieve him, but he gets sparked in the eye. Whilst he's recovering, the Fiend rises up from the boxes. He does the mandible claw on a Sister Abigail, and that's the 3. What a long match. Right, it was definitely better than the Cell match, but it wasn't a lot different. So far, Bray's range of moves sucks Sonny Siaki's ass. I hope this feud is over so we can see something different. It's a C. Match 4, Survivor Series 2019, Universal title. The challenger is Daniel Bryan. Yay, it's someone different. And he of course takes on the champion, The Fiend. Daniel wants to end this quickly with his running drop kicks until he runs straight into a clothesline. A headbutt now knocks Bryan down. He's extremely slow to capitalise. Bryan goes flying face first off the ring pole now, and then The Fiend actually lands a back senton. He screams "Remember me" over and over again into the camera. Well, if you can improve and get an A on this episode of Ring of the Hawk, you'll be forever immortalised as the Season 3 champion, and you will be remembered. In the ring, The Fiend plants Bryan with Uranagi. New move now, it's like a suplex into a throw. Bryan gets his head snapped off now. I feel like this move should be a bigger deal. It looks better than the Sister Abigail in this Hawk's opinion. The Fiend laughs with happiness. He's overconfident though and he misses his charge, goes flying over the steps. Daniel Bryan tries a suicide dive which is caught, but the Fiend can't hit the Sister Abigail and he goes into the pole. Bryan with a flying knee off the apron. Bryan's on the top rope now with a massive flying forearm which does connect, and it does knock the Fiend down. Bryan's giving it all with kicks in the ring. The Fiend keeps no-selling his flurries of offense. The crowd are fully behind Daniel Bryan now, but the running knee is just a 2. Bryan fights off another Sister Abigail with a roll-up for a 2, and straight after, Bryan is sort of sidewalk slammed. The mandible claw is now locked in, and that's how this one ends. It was fine, it's a C, nothing incredible, but kind of enjoyable. Match 5, TLC 2019, The Miz versus, well, he's Bray Wyatt here instead of The Fiend, but it's during the Fiend run. He has great fun playing with the crowd before the match has started. The Miz with a running knee to the head followed by knees in the corner. Bray seems to find that funny if anything. Miz almost gets DQ'd as he attacks Bray across the ropes, but Bray's still laughing. Bray Wyatt finally wakes up and he throws Miz into the corner, but he misses his attack and the Miz is back to throwing kicks and knees in the corner. The skull crushing finale from the Miz now, but he doesn't make a cover. He looks like he's dumping in his nappy of anger. Bray is still enjoying the beating. The Miz slowly snaps his hand and arm back. Bray rolls out of the ring and starts slamming himself into the crowd barrier. I think he's trying to pop his shoulder back in. Miz keeps going after him. Bray hasn't landed a move yet, but he does defend himself when he sidesteps the Miz who goes across the crowd barrier. Wyatt hits a Sister Abigail across the crowd barrier on the Miz, who only just makes it back into the ring at 9. A Sister Abigail straight away in the ring and that's the 3. Incredible character work of Bray not wanting to hurt the Miz, but from a wrestling standpoint this run ain't great so far. It makes it hard to grade because how can someone be so amazing on one side of the business and just not so great at the other side? The Fiend appears on the Titantron and he makes Wyatt get his cartoon mallet, but he doesn't use it. Daniel Bryan is here attacking Wyatt in the ring. He can't hit Wyatt with the mallet because he teleports away. The match is a C because I enjoyed the character work. Match 6, Royal Rumble 2020, Universal title strap match. The challenger Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend. The Fiend has superimposed his face on the Universal title. Surprised this strap match gimmick is still alive in the year 2020. If you haven't seen a strap match before, you need to touch all 4 turnbuckles in succession. Except in this match where it's just a normal match with pinfalls but they're attached by a strap. I think I've been watching too much TNA. Bryan tries to beat on The Fiend in the corner but he's stopped and powerbombed. Hooray, a new move! The Fiend starts using the strap for the first time now. Bryan tries to stop him with a suicide dive, which the Fiend sort of switches into a slam into the barricade. Bryan goes straight into the pole moments later. Now the Fiend beats Bryan with the strap whilst he's on the top rope. He whips him whilst he's in the Tree of Woe. Bryan just can't get out of it until he falls down with pain. The Fiend with the Uranagi now. Bray Wyatt spends ages messing around and trying to freak people out. This gives Bryan time to recover and he tries kicks. He hits a big dive to the outside of the ring and this match has massively turned. That doesn't last too long though, as the Fiend sends Bryan into the steps. Bryan doesn't seem too hurt by that one and he uses the strap to drive the Fiend into the ring pole time and time again. It looks like the Fiend is struggling here until he explodes with a massive clothesline on the outside. They're now on top of the commentary desk. Bryan kicks the Fiend in the slash zone, not once, not twice, but thrice, and it sure wasn't nice. Daniel Bryan DDTs him on the table. It doesn't break. Back in the ring, Bryan with a missile dropkick. The Fiend's no-selling seems to have stopped, or at least calmed down at this point. Kicks and strap shots from Bryan now. The Fiend keeps asking for more of them. Bryan looks to finish him off with the big kick, which is nicely turned into a Sister Abigail. It should be the 3, but it isn't. The Fiend seems annoyed about that one and he starts smacking himself in the face. Reminds me of myself when I'm trying to psych myself up to lift a heavy weight in the gym. It's like I know I look like I've got serious problems, but I still do it. Does anyone else do that? They both have submissions on over the ropes. The Fiend drags him back to the ring, but now Bryan has the label lock on with a strap-on assist. Fiend with some big punches to smack him off. It looks like it should be over, but once again Bryan rolls him up from the Sister Abigail. It's not over. Bryan straight back up and hits the big running knee. That's also just a 2. Bryan starts squirting blood into his nappy of anger, but he doesn't realise that the Fiend has got back to his feet behind him. Amazing facial expressions from Daniel Bryan in this one. Really selling the match and character. Daniel Bryan is still fighting back, but just like that he's picked up and chokeslammed for the 3. Best match by a country mile. Love this one. Both guys had amazing character work and it was just a fun match. It's an A. About time. I thought we should be looking at a new champion on today's video. Let's see a bit more from this version of the Fiend. I have a feeling it's all uphill from here. They've figured out how to book Bray now and he's figured out how to wrestle in this character. I'm all hyped. Now let's do it. Match 7. Super Showdown 2020. Oh no. No, anything but this match. I feel like a balloon which has just had a nail shoved in it. Universal title. The challenger Goldberg versus the champion The Fiend. The crowd literally don't care about The Fiend, they only want Goldberg. The intros are longer than the damn match. No red light for this one, but I wish there had been so I didn't have to see it. And it goes a little bit like this. The Fiend takes his jacket off and Goldberg spears him straight away. He does this not once, not twice, not thrice, but 4 and your girl's a whore. Although The Fiend kicks out of 4 spears, second later he's hit for jackhammer for the 3. The Fiend is officially ruined and it's officially enough. Match 8, WrestleMania 36 Part 2, Firefly House of Fun match. It's Wiener who looks confused. The broadcast is interrupted by some old footage of nothing really. Now Bray Wyatt is in his funhouse, who somehow teleports Cena into the funhouse. Okay, this is going to be some Matt Hardy cinematic stuff right here. Cena is told to go through the door. It's all dark in there, luckily Cena is wearing fluorescent green. A puppet Vince McMahon asks Cena if he has ruthless aggression. Clips now play of Bray Wyatt pretending he's Perk Angle, which was Cena's debut. He comes out dressed in his original attire. Cena says he has ruthless aggression, he throws a punch but keeps missing it. I have absolutely no idea what's going on here. They're now pretending they're from the 80s. Now Bray Wyatt is doing a Hulk Hogan impression. Cena eventually goes on to be Thugonomic Cena. Cena looks so skinny and sick. John Cena is rapping at Bray Wyatt. Bray seems very unhappy about the rap. Cena still can't land a punch and Bray knocks him out with Cena's old chain. Stuff with the Wyatt family. I'm struggling to even call this a match at this point. Now Wyatt is the leader of the Grey Crew, Eric Bischoff. Cena is now a part of the NWO. John Cena finally gets a hold of him. The leader of the Bray Crew is getting Sonny Shaki's ass handed to him. Unfortunately for Cena, the Fiend rises up from behind him. Sister Abigail from the Fiend, the Mandible Claw, and Bray Wyatt counts to 3 for himself. What drugs were they taking when they came up with this one? A C for character work, but I have no idea what to grade this, so whatever, we're moving on. Match 9, Money in the Bank 2020, Universal title, the challenger The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus the champion Braun Strowman. This is like a match we could be seeing again soon in 2022. Braun seems to be stronger than Bray. Bray even acknowledges how strong he is. Another big shoulder tackle knocks down Bray. We're outside the ring now where it continues going badly for Bray. He's sent into the post. Strowman tries another charge but he misses and flies over the announce table. It's Bray Wyatt in full control now with a DDT on the floor and a 2 count in the ring. Back senton now. On the outside, Wyatt starts crying. He's upset that he's hurt his former little friend. Bray Wyatt gives Strowman a lovely smile and for some reason a massive tornado DDT from the top. That was random. There's the Sister Abigail, but it's just a 2 count. He tries another, but this one is blocked with a big hand around his throat. There's the choke slam. We go outside the ring and this time Braun is able to hit his big crazy charge into the barricade. Bray stops him from getting back in the ring with a kick. We're pretty even here. Strowman now has his old mask on and Bray is full of emotion at seeing that. They both get down on their knees and they hug and they kiss and they pat each other's asses. No, that didn't really happen. Actually, they do hug. All Bray's little puppets celebrate the hug. Strowman has a change of heart and stamps on the mask. The running power slam for the 3. So many matches on here that are hard to grade. It's like there's too much character work here. I never thought I'd say that. It's a C. Match 10, Extreme Rules 2020, non-title swamp fight match. What is this? He's crying out for a normal match at this point. You guessed it, it's yet another cinematic match. The Fiend is happily rocking on his rocking chair when Strowman pulls up. Ugh, it sucks. It keeps cutting away from the match with Bray Wyatt being a cheerleader. It's so dark I can barely see what's happening. This reminds me of the graveyard match between Sting and Vampiro, except it's not quite as dark as that. The question is, could that match be any darker? And the answer is no. At some point, Strowman gets chained up and he's having visions. I'm having visions too, visions of watching something good. Bray welcomes Braun home. They talk for ages about the past. Yes, this is a match. There's nothing I can do but watch it. We get it, he's a great character. Go and make some movies if that's what you want to do. Bray now has an adder. What does he think? He's Jake the Snake Roberts or something? I believe the snake bites him to turn Braun back to his dark side. He's now somehow free from his chains and he's beating up random people. Some guy then hits him in the face with a shovel, but then the guy is set on fire. I hate this match so much. It's an injustice to call this a match. It feels like I'm watching Shrooms 2. Did that film ever get a sequel? All I can do is ask questions like this when I got nothing else to do. Bray appears and burns him with acid or something on his hands. Strowman fights him off and chokeslams him into a dilapidated boat, which then sails away, so I guess it's over. I'm at the end of my sanity here, it's an S. Unfortunately though, it's not over and they fight in a pond. They want to pretend there's crocodiles in there, so they show random shots of crocodiles. Bray beats him down with a rowing oar. Is it over now? He's let out a victory stream, so I guess it is. No, he's back up. Strowman kicks him off a dock. Is it over now? No, they both end up back in the water. Surely it's over. No, the water turns red and bubbles and the Fiend emerges, so presumably Strowman is drowned to death. I hated it.
Shove it!
Match 11, SummerSlam 2020, Falls Count Anywhere match for the Universal title. The challenger, the Fiend versus Braun Strowman. Please just let them wrestle this time. It doesn't seem like they're messing around too much here. The Fiend quickly with a big Uranagi and a neck snapper special. Outside, the Fiend uses the toolbox as a weapon. For some reason, Strowman isn't hurt and he's hitting uppercuts. He sends the Fiend through the barricade. He no-sells that and they go back to brawling. Strowman immediately chokeslams the Fiend on the table. It doesn't break and it sounds painful. They're still fighting. Strowman smashes steps into the Fiend's face. We come to the ring where Strowman hits his power slam, which doesn't get the 3. He looks on in disbelief. This has all happened in 5 minutes, so they're certainly getting a move on this time. They end up in some room backstage. The Fiend hits the Sister Abigail. It's lost all effect on me at this point. They're now fighting on the entrance ramp. Yet again, it's boring and slow and I don't care. Bray yet again kicks out of the power slam. The constant fake piped in crowd noise gives me a headache. Braun Strowman has now cut the ring apart for Stanley. The Fiend rushes straight at him to hit a bad looking Uranagi on the wood. Now it's a Sister Abigail on the wood. And another one. Please let this be over. Yes it is. It's the most senseless rubbish I've ever seen. I actually thought this video was going to be good. The only thing keeping him out the shove-it zone tonight is his character work. The Fiend is the champion, but Roman Reigns attacks him after the match. This one's a D. Match 12, Payback 2020, triple threat for the Universal title. How many bad main events are they going to get in this video? Will it be another? It's the champion, the Fiend, defending against Braun, who jumps him before the bell. He hits the power slam straight away, just a 2 count. They crash into each other with crossbodies. Sister Abigail for a 2, who cares? On the outside of the ring, the Fiend with a Uranagi sending Strowman through the table. The Fiend thinks about using his mallet, but a chair is thrown at him. Now the Fiend hits Strowman with the mallet. He's roaring with happiness over that one. The steps are used as a weapon. Why do all these matches feel the same? The only one that felt different was the strap match with Daniel Bryan. Eventually they both fall off the stage to land on some comfy looking mats. I tuned out for a while and came back to see Bray superplex Strowman, which causes the ring to fall down. The only interesting thing to happen in ages. Roman decides to join the match with both men pretty much dead and he pins Strowman with the spear. The Fiend held the title for about a day. Why was Reigns allowed to join at the end of the match? Whatever, it's an S. Match 13, SmackDown. Alright, his first non-pay-per-view match. That's crazy. It's the Fiend taking on Kevin Owens. Okay, well I asked for different. This might give me what I wanted. Owens smashes him down with a clothesline and a rolling cannonball straight away. The Fiend no-sells it and hits a devastating crossbody. Wow, massive running clothesline on the outside of the ring now. Owens gets scared of Bray. What follows is a brand new move. It's like a spinning facebuster. Owens isn't done and he hits a big clothesline of his own. He sends the Fiend outside the ring, which is a bad choice because Uranagi and Sister Abigail into the table. Owens is still fighting back, but he's given another Uranagi. The neck snap now, which has somehow become much less devastating when this video's gone on. Owens wakes up and hits 3 super kicks and 2 cannonballs. The Fiend tries to bail. Owens gives chase and hits DDT on the outside. Kevin Owens with a frog splash off the apron now. Fiend manages to get back in the ring before the referee's 10 count and he puts the mandible claw on. Owens does a stunner, but the Fiend won't let go of the hold. He slams him and keeps the mandible claw on, and that's how the match ends. The Fiend wins. Much, much better. All I asked for was a little bit more wrestling and less sitting around doing nothing. This one's a B. Match 14 Raw, The Miz with John Morrison, well that's a throwback, versus Bray Wyatt with petrified rat Alexa Bliss. I guess he's finally made a friend then. Wyatt wants to shake his hand, The Miz kicks it away. Miz doesn't stay on his feet long as the elbow catches him in the jaw. Miz is up and he gets Wyatt on the ropes. Morrison takes a cheap shot at Bray. Wyatt turns around with anger and gives The Miz a big uppercut. Miz actually manages to get Bray down with a double axe and a short DDT. That's a 1 count. Then it all goes horribly wrong. The Miz is throwing kicks whilst Wyatt is down, but he completely misses and just sort of falls over his back. Bray Wyatt is in full control. Morrison gets involved again to stop him. A flying, petrified rat takes him out across the barrier. The Miz tries to capitalise, but his clothesline in the corner has 0 effect, and Wyatt gives him the Sister Abigail for the 3. I guess it's a D. I enjoyed the character work. Sick of saying that. Match 15 Raw, Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. It feels like Wyatt's getting in worse shape as this video goes on, or am I wrong about that? Bray is very pleased with his first knockdown. Seconds later, Orton tries to suplex Wyatt through the table. He rakes the eyelid and hits his own back suplex into the table. These tables have got a lot stronger over the years. After an advert break, we're back in the ring with Orton dominating. He puts on the sleeper as Bray smiles with happiness. Bray breaks free and Orton throws Wyatt down. Somehow, that's a 2. Think of all the things in this video that Wyatt hasn't sold. And Orton gets a 2 on that shove down? Give me a break. Big clothesline from Wyatt. He hasn't managed much in this match. An atomic drop from Wyatt follows by some body smashes. What the hell? It's an impaler DDT. Where did that one come from, Bray? So random. Orton fights out of the Sister Abigail into the cross backbreaker. Another 2 for Orton. On the outside of the ring, Orton hits his own back suplex onto the desk. Orton with a hangman's DDT as the Fiend tries to come back into the ring. He looks for the RKO, but some technical difficulties distract him. He just does the RKO anyway. The lights go out again and the Fiend is now here. The mandible claw is on as the show goes off the air without a winner. It's a C, it was enjoyable at times. Other times not so much though. Match 16, TLC 2020, Firefly Inferno match, Orton versus the Fiend. It's the definition of a nothing match with a really cool ending. It's the same as all the other matches, but this time surrounded by fire. The Fiend gets Orton set up in a chair with a line of petrol going to it, but Orton wakes up in time to dodge the fire. The rest of the match is just them trying to burn each other but not managing it. Finally it happens as the Fiend has the mandible claw on. Orton manages to switch him around and now the Fiend is on fire. He still runs after Orton, but he runs into an RKO in the middle of the ring. Orton tips more petrol on him. Orton completely sets him on fire with a match. That's how it ends. Fair play for doing that one, Bray. Instant marks up for that. Yeah! It's an A for almost burning to death. Hey, New Jack got an A for diving off balconies. I've got to be consistent with my grades. The Fiend is now dead. Match 17, WrestleMania 37. Oh, he's not dead. But he might be soon because this is his final match. Randy Orton versus The Fiend, who hatches from a music box. He has a new look due to the burns he suffered, and he's with Alexa Bliss. He jumps off his music box with a clothesline to start the match. There's the Uranagi. No, the red light is back. The Fiend seems extra motivated. He does the neck snap now. Randy dumps in his nappy and runs out the ring. He's just playing possum and he smashes the Fiend into the table, which has no effect. Orton runs back into the ring and he snaps the DDT off the second rope. The Fiend is straight back up. Unfortunately for him, he's then sent into the music box. Another DDT off the second rope. Orton can't keep him down. The Fiend now with the clothesline and a crossbody block. He misses the back senton and now there's a third DDT from the ropes. Orton thinks it's over now, but the RKO is reversed and the Fiend thinks about his sister Abigail. But Alexa Bliss is now on the music box with black liquid dripping down her face. This distracts the Fiend and when he turns around it's an RKO for Orton for the 3. A 5-minute WrestleMania match. Bit of a letdown. The crowd boo. No! It's an S. And that's it, my little friends. I get that a lot of these matches might not have made sense without the storylines and angles in between. I might not be understanding the references and things that happen during the matches. but I doubt that even with them, these short and weird main events would have been worthy payoffs. I like that they made him a big deal by mostly only having him wrestle on pay-per-views, and the character work was obviously amazing, but there just wasn't that much going on in the ring. If you think that some of these were actually good matches, I'd be interested to hear why. It just wasn't a good balance between wrestling and character work. So little wrestling. Many of these matches were just the Fiend sitting around smiling and slowly walking around for 5 minutes. So the question is, can the Fiend do the JOB to the HAWK? Well, there were just too many bad matches here, I'm sorry, but the character work was there, so he won't be in the shove it zone. A D is fair tonight, and if you don't agree with that, your opinion isn't right.